Our last speaker for the evening is Adam Walsh, who became conscious of the mistreatment of animals after visiting a food market in Siem Reap, Cambodia. After discovering more about how animals are used for human benefit, are treated in Australia, he changed the impact of his lifestyle and, following an enlightening trip to India, decided to pursue animal advocacy as a career. Adam has worked for the Animal-Free Science Advocacy, formerly the Humane Research Australia, since 2019 as Operations and Administration Officer. Sorry, whoever's speaking, can you mute yourself, please? During this time, he has also written case studies and an environmental impact page, which looks at the way animal-based research impacts the environment. Welcome to you, Adam. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the unceded land on which I live, work and advocate, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. My name's Adam and I'm the Operations and Campaigns Research Manager for Animal-Free Science Advocacy. We were previously known at other times as the Australian Association for Humane Research, which was started in 1979. And in 2005, that organisation became known as Humane Research Australia. We found on quite a few occasions, though, that this name presented issues which distracted from our mission. People thought we conducted research. People thought that we conducted research on humans. People didn't know what humane meant. And we learnt too that in some languages, there isn't an equivalent to the word humane. So it was often hard to communicate what we did and for our supporters to communicate what we did with their friends. And so we decided to change the name, and in 2003 became known as Animal-Free Science Advocacy. And we're a campaigning organisation and a resource for the use of animals in research and teaching in Australia. And we attempt to engage with a wide range of audiences, from other animal advocate groups through to medical researchers themselves. And the reason we do this is in Australia, per capita, we are the highest user of animals for research in the world. And by raw numbers alone, we are the third highest user in the world. But as many of you might know, due to there being no standardized way to collect statistics on the number of animals used, we really don't know how many are used. And animal research is more widespread than most people consider. Many research facilities using animals in Australia don't publish details of their animal use or how many animals they keep. Even research publications in which animals have been used may not even mention that they have used animals. But it's usually safe to assume that if they're a medical institution or an education facility, then they are very likely to be using animals. And
Adam, sorry to interject, it's Linda.
Sure.
Some of us are having trouble hearing you. Your audio is fading in and out. Is there any way to
Oh, right.
fix that?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's good.
That's better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no, sorry about that. Let's see how we go.
Okay.
Yeah, as I was saying, a quick way to find out if a facility is using animals is by searching the facility name and adding animal research or animal ethics committee at the end. This will usually show the animal use policy for the facility, although some facilities may outsource their research to another state or country, but they still should have an animal use policy. So the reason that so many facilities are engaged in animal research is that in Australia, we face a critical issue in our medical research landscape, and that's the lack of dedicated funding for animal-free research methods. Um, even though we've got a stated commitment to the 3R principles, which are replace, reduce, and refine, we're still falling short in investing in alternatives to traditional animal studies. And this oversight, I suppose, not only perpetuates the unnecessary animal suffering, but it also impedes our potential to be a leader in innovation and the development of animal-free technologies, which will have a broader clinical application. And additionally, our failure to allocate resources to animal-free methods overlooks the numerous advantages that these technologies, including better human health outcomes and reduced environmental impact and improved cost effectiveness of health research. So as public support for alternatives to animal research grows and the evidence of their economic viability increases, it's essential that Australian funding bodies start to prioritise investment in these animal-free methods. And by doing so, we can alleviate the animal suffering, drive scientific innovation, and position Australia as a world leader in ethical and effective medical research. And over the past few weeks, ending in about mid-April, we took this campaign called I'm Not a Lab Tool nationally through a collaboration with Lush cosmetic stores. And in the stores, we advertised the key arguments against using animals in research and promoted the implementation of funding streams for animal-free methods. And this led to hundreds of emails being sent to MPs right across the country. And these emails were complemented physically by stacks of thousands. I think we almost got to 8,000 postcards arriving on MPs' desks over the past week. And we're currently in the process of communicating with those MPs to arrange meetings and to discuss the campaign details further. And the reason that we believe the I'm Not a Lab Tool campaign has such a great chance of success is due to the intersectional nature of investment in animal-free methods of research. And as I mentioned before, those methods they're closer to human relevant than animal models of research ever can be. They have the chance to reduce the cost of health research in Australia, and in fact, in many cases, may contribute significantly towards our economy. And they are more environmentally friendly than animal methods as well. Even though the environmental impacts of both animal and non-animal research are significant, with animal-based research, there are quite a few additional costs that are often overlooked. And initially, it would be good to focus on the lack of transparency in reporting the total number of animals involved. Like I said before, there's not really any standardized way of reporting on animal use. Knowing these figures could reveal quite significant inefficiencies and areas for improvement in current research methods. Breeding animals for experimentation purposes, including genetic modification, raises a lot of environmental concerns, particularly regarding accidental release or interbreeding with native populations. And the Australian government's own NHMRC, the National Health and Medical Research Council, their code says that measures should be taken to ensure the animal's environment and management are appropriate for the species and the individual animal. But even to come partway towards this in whatever small efforts they make, research laboratories require significant amounts of energy, and it's up to 10 times more per square metre than standard office buildings. And even though some facilities have committed to reducing their environmental footprint, these research laboratories, which are quite energy intensive, and biosecure facilities contribute significantly to resource consumption and waste generation. The use of animals also involves handling hazardous chemicals and disposal of waste, and pollution from incineration processes, which all pose risks to human and environmental health. And often the services transporting the animals and waste outside of the laboratory are unaware of what they're handling and the corresponding hazards it may pose. And we found from an observational study of veterinary schools with high safety standards, they failed to meet compliance, even the ones that had high safety standards. So this suggests a wider problem with safety surrounding toxic chemicals. And so alongside encouraging ethical and sustainable scientific practices, which are more aligned with international goals for sustainable development and animal protection, promoting animal-free methods and embracing alternatives can also reduce the environmental impacts of medical research. And working towards these changes and and the many other challenges we have in this area takes a significant amount of work. So there's a few ways that if you're interested, you can become more involved. Initially, I often suggest to people that one of the best ways is just to increase your knowledge. So if you visit the Animal-Free Science Advocacy website, as I mentioned, this is a great resource for information in this area, not just of the issues that we've had in the past and are currently facing, but also a lot of information on what the way forward is and how these non-animal or animal-free technologies can be implemented. You can follow our social media channels and subscribe to our e-news. We do a monthly e-news, which kind of summarizes where we're at with some of our campaigns and some of the outreach that we've been performing. We have actions on the I'm Not a Lab Tool campaign, which is promoting the animal-free methods of research, and our campaign, which was relaunched this week, Ban Primate Experiments. They both have actions that you can take. We've also developed a volunteer interest survey to create a bit of a database and kind of community or communication with people who are interested in volunteering a little bit more with us, collecting their skills and seeing how they might be able to fit into what we do. And we have at the moment a operations officer position, which is being advertised through until May 17th. So all those details will be there under current vacancies. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adam. I know this is a subject that is dear to the hearts of many here tonight, and I do thank you again on behalf of all attendees for the great work that you're doing to raise awareness about these unspeakable experiments that just go on, and the other animals who are bred in laboratories to continue these ghastly experiments. So I just applaud you. And if you wanted to put in our chat box details for people to contact you, that would be great. So thank you very much for giving up your time to speak with us tonight. It was just invaluable. I'll just get to the chat box now. So Lisa, while you were speaking, Emily McCallum was asking, does puppy farming come under this act or greyhound racing? And I think that might be related to either ag-gag or which was it?
Emily, if you're asking about the review that's now commenced in the Northern Territory and will continue for 4 months till the end of September, it will cover all animal welfare issues, with the exception of native species, which come under environmental and native species animal protection. So yes, it will include puppy farming. when Alex and I have had time, there is a discussion paper that's been released. We haven't had a chance to go through that yet, but we will be. And when we release our submission guide, I'm sure you're on our subscription list, so we will cover absolutely everything. And even where it relates to native species, we'll be encouraging people to push the Northern Territory government to review absolutely everything. If your question relates to what ag-gag in New South Wales, it relates to any item where an animal activist is capturing and documenting evidence through footage or images, or publishing that, and that can relate to absolutely anything, including puppy factories.
Thanks, Lisa. And Cara, I just want to thank you for making all these links available to us throughout the evening. It's really helpful. So if you can cut and paste some of the links that Cara's made available, it'll just take you straight to, including the wild horses and the email to Premier Chris Minns, and Cara's also written, you can send an email here and demand the Northern Territory take immediate action for the Uluru camels. You'll see a link there. And she's also, Cara, thanks. You can donate to Wiluna Sanctuary to support their work here, and there is the PayPal details. Susan Sorensen, wonderful overview, and thank you for all that hard work. I think that was with regards to Dylan's presentation, and thanks, Cara, for adding Northeast Forest Alliance. Emily McCallum, just wow, thanks, Lisa. Thank you for everything you do for animals. Lisa, thank you for your expertise, Dylan and NEFA, for your inspiring advocacy for forests and all the beings who depend on them. Susan Sorensen, again, this is for Dylan, absolutely devastating. And the fact that this has been going on for so long and still nothing has been put in place to protect koalas, their feed trees and their habitats is heartbreaking and criminal. It is indeed. And Susie Herder, for you, Dylan, it is ecocide and government-driven extinction that taxpayers are having to fund. Alex, thank you so much, Dylan. That was one of the most informative presentations I've seen in a long time. We so appreciate you being here with us tonight and are very grateful for the work NEFA does. And Cara is also reiterating our gratitude for having you here and all the work that you do. Susie Herder, thank you for all your amazing work, Dylan and NEFA. So if anyone wants to find out any more details, Cara has also given the email to contact any of us at Animal Liberation. Then we had a bit of audio problems. Lisa, Adam, do we know how many Australian native species are used in animal experimentation and research across Australia?
No, like I mentioned, there's lots of issues with reporting on the animals used. We did find last year there were some experiments being done on, I think it's pronounced Tamar or Tamar wallabies. They were doing brain and vision experiments. And we've been looking a little bit more into the use of kangaroo tendons in xenotransplantation, which are experiments taking parts usually or cells from animals and transplanting them into another species, which is usually humans. So yeah, kangaroo tendons they're using for to repair ligaments, I think is the research. Yeah, but it is, like, my audio is a little bit patchy finding some of the details about these.
Oh, Adam, it's just horrific. My question to you is, do you speak at universities, particularly those experimenting on animals?
We do, yeah. Our CEO, Rachel, quite often speaks to university groups, at least. It's not often that we're invited to universities. We do kind of
I'll bet.
try to keep contact with them, and even going to some like the health research facilities and things like that as well. So we do try as much as we can, and we're trying to get into universities a little bit more, primarily through student groups at the moment. But we are trying to target those a little bit more. Yeah.
Thank you. And this is from our Alex. Thank you, Adam. Your suggestion to ascertain whether a facility is involved in animal experimentation by adding Animal Ethics Committee at the end of a Google search is a great one. We're so grateful for you being here with us tonight. Emily McCallum, have you put in an FOI GIPA to have more information released? I've tried researching more information on this issue. However, the best information available is from your website and Peter. Even the report from the inquiry into animal experimentation was pathetic, re-information about the animal testing. I saw that 3 FOIs had been submitted, 2 were revoked, and the other still defending 3 years later.
Yes. I think we submit freedom of information requests quite a lot. Often it is returned, and I'm just trying to remember the phrase that they used. It's like commercial confidence or something like that, because they're obviously developing products that will turn into, well, they're hoping will turn into drugs and treatments. If we do latch onto something, like you said, some of them will drag out for quite a long time. There's sometimes freedom of information requests that we put in that we just can't speak about anymore.
Right.
So it's very complicated, but we do push on those quite a lot. And if we find like a soft spot, we will keep pushing on those to get even the little bits of information that we can. Yeah.
Thank you. Annie Cranberry, thanks, Adam. Thanks, everyone, very much. And Adam has provided some links here, so you can go straight to the source. It made a statement that is ridiculous and disgusting. Thank you for explaining. Leon Gross, thank you, everyone. You're all amazing. Susan Sorensen, the Animal-Free Science Advocacy website is brilliant, so informative. Thank you for your overview and information. Marina DB, thank you all so much for the information and dedication to end these devastating industries. Boodle, our kangaroos are really being so exploited at this time. It's really unbelievable. Daniel Johnson, thank you for sharing this information. And Cara, thank you for sharing the links here on this chat. Ditto that. Lisa, Adam, Alex and I are pretty clued up on parliamentary budget estimates questions. Happy to put your questions forward. So there's an offer. Heather Edwards, thank you so much, everyone. You are so inspiring. And that brings us to the end of our chats and to our meeting, in fact. I just went in from Boodle. This webinar has been so very informative. And yes, it has. And I am so grateful to Lisa, to Dylan and Adam, and just an aside, but very important to me, is to thank our tiny weeny team for their massive output of work, their passion, their intelligence, their intellects. They, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they do the work of 10 people each, and I'm just so grateful to all of them. And I'm also grateful, one of our directors is here tonight, Gordon, which is lovely. He always supports everything we do. So I wish you all very well. And I hope for anyone who might be suffering, you know, PTSD, grief, anger, whatever it is that you might be feeling as a consequence of, you know, learning this stuff. It's not easy to hear. It's important to hear and important to share. But, you know, if it's understandable if you have an emotional reaction. So I would urge you to come along. Thanks, Cara. She's just made the Wellbeing Forum Facebook event available there, and I think you'll find it very beneficial. And it's also just lovely to be with like-minded people who, you know, whatever walk from life, however different we are in other ways, we have that core thing in all of us that just brings us all together. And I'm grateful that you joined us this evening. It's been lovely having your company, and and I look forward to our next webinar, and I hope you can all stay warm and safe and dry, and have a lovely rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you again for attending.